Hello YouTube, this is Denox Anime Review 7 here once again. Btooom episode 6 review I'm gonna do. This episode was really good. Yeah, it basically continues right where we left off when these giant lizard or crocodiles, they're more like crocodiles, I'm just gonna call them crocodiles throughout the entire episodes. That they were basically trying to attack Sakamoto, Himiko, and Taira. At first, Himiko was very unconscious, and she didn't respond to anything. So Sakamoto had to carry her on his back and everything. But then after that, he gave Himiko to Taira for a little bit, so he could distract them and try to get all the other packages of bombs and everything from other players. Because there was a bag for Taira from Sakamoto, there's Himiko, and there's the Kosuke one. And they're all different bombs. But what we found out, very interesting this episode, that one cannot use other people's bomb unless they're killed and they take their radar and stuff like that. So basically, Sakamoto could only use his weapons or weapons of the person he defeated. So since he spared Kosuke's life, he can't use Kosuke's bombs. In other words, he just took everything, thinking that he could still use it anyways. But I don't know. But it reacts to a person's body or so. I don't know really. What really sucks now, is Taira was trying to keep the alligators from attacking Himiko and him, while Sakamoto was trying to look for the bomb necessary to drive them off. But before he could do that, one of the alligators, he bit Taira's I think it was, his right leg really hard, and you could see like marks and a lot of blood coming out, and part of his pants got ripped off and stuff. And then Sakamoto finally got the bomb to separate them, but then he took Himiko, and then the alligators kept coming, and then they got separated for a little while. So at that very moment, I remember before that Taira was telling Sakamoto that he was scared, that he thought that Sakamoto abandoned him and stuff. And then the same, happened to Sakamoto when he was like left alone with Himiko on his back. He didn't have much bombs or anything like that. And then he told Taira to screw yourself because you abandoned me. He thought he abandoned them. Because when you don't know what to do or anything, you tend to think very negatively, no matter what kind of logic you have. And then we see Taira coming back, and we find out, he's actually a really reliable ally. So, they're looking out for each other pretty much, and they were looking for each other this whole time. Yeah, that's true. That they, when one is alone and doesn't know what to do, and the other person does not find him, you tend to think negative of that person. That's exactly what happened here. Yeah, so after all that, they were talking a little bit. They were reaching an abandoned building, I believe, uphill, where they're being chased by crocodiles still. And when they got to that place, between Sakamoto and Taira, they were trying to, put Himiko in the middle so they could climb up a rusted ladder. But Sakamoto's foot kind of like broke the ladder. It slipped and they all fell down. Both Sakamoto and Himiko fell on top of Taira. So thank God that no one fell on top of Himiko, because she was pretty fragile. Yeah. And then we see crocodiles coming towards them, giant lizards and all that stuff. And then what Taira had to do, he told Sakamoto he'll be a decoy so you could get Himiko up there. But Sakamoto wasn't so sure he could actually do that. So what he did is that I got really nervous for a second, because he was laughing evilly, and then he climbed up the ladder alone. And then we thought that he was gonna abandon Himiko. But then Taira say, I lost faith in you. Why are you doing it? Why you abandoning Himiko? When oh yeah, by the way, Taira has these type of bombs that they're like propellers. You activate that, and they like flying that little propeller thing, and they go against the opponent. It's not that powerful, but it is a homing bomb, so it follows the opponent around. And then, we find out Sakamoto actually had a plan of his own. He activated a bomb that was from Himiko. And how he did that he used Himiko's hand to actually activate the bomb, her fingers, I believe, and then activates because he couldn't activate himself because it only responds to a certain person's hand or something. And I think it has to do with the radar. Like it only respond these bombs only respond to a certain radar from the people. Like if you have this radar, you can only use this amount of bomb. But if you have another radar, you also gain their bomb abilities. It's kind of like Mega Man in a way because like every time you defeat an opponent, you get their powers and everything. It's kind of like that. If you don't defeat them, you don't get nothing. Very interesting, I might say. Mega Man reference right there. So he threw that smoke bomb. I think it was a poison smoke bomb, and all the crocodiles got chased away. They went back to the forest, and then he got back down, and the Himiko she woke up, I believe, after that, and then everyone got up there, and Himiko is still not trusting Sakamoto and Taira, because it really sucks how poorly these men treated her. That she applies that to every other man as well. And at one point, he was asking Sakamoto if he was doing any perverted thing while she was unconscious and stuff. He didn't respond in anything, and then he said, "Pervert, get away from me," and stuff like that. Tyro's leg was starting to react even more, and he started feeling even more pain from the bite that he had up there. And then Sakamoto was trying to treat it. So the next morning passes by. He was looking for some water. So that kind of is like a mixture of alcohol, maybe, for to calm down the pain from his leg. But the thing is, he was going out of control. He was screaming and yelling and everything. So he was asking Himiko if he could hold him down with him so he could do it properly, because he couldn't do it alone. But Himiko was like, "No, I can't. I don't want to touch men at all. And what if they do something to me?" And then and then Sakamoto said, "This is no time for this right now. If you don't hurry, he might die and stuff." Yeah, it's true that Himiko barely knows these two, but at this point, you're gonna have to go with the flow and help. So she did. She actually grabbed on Taira's chest, and so he doesn't move too much. And then Sakamoto, he poured down some alcohol slash water. I think it's water only. It wasn't explained that well. And then he calmed down a little bit after he screamed like crazy, and then he rested and stuff. Then we see Himiko. She was with her pink cell phone, looking at some cosplays, and I think she was also listening to some music on her cell phone. It was like an MP3 player as well. And then Sakamoto came and said, "You can't get any reception there." And Himiko was like, what are you doing sneaking up on me like that?" And then she tried to get away, and then he kicked Sakamoto's legs, and I'm like, "Oh crap, this girl's a bastard." But then again, she's just trying to defend herself. And then Sakamoto got a little bit suspicious of her, saying that she already killed 6 people. That's how she has all sorts of weapons. She already killed several people. But her excuse was, she was defending herself and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess so. When it comes to this island, I don't think killing is a crime. But who knows what happened if like suddenly they all survive and everything, and when they go back to their hometown, they get sent to prison for killing 6 people. Sakamoto, Himiko, and Taira. They get sent to prison because they kill people on the island, and then it applies to them there. But I don't know, really sucks. But then again, these are the type of people that everyone voted on to be sent away and disappear. So maybe they won't care about the people that died over there. Yeah, there are a lot of bad people on the island. So it's good to know that they're Taira's developing in a way, and Sakamoto as well. Now Himiko, she's gonna develop next episode. I can tell you that. It's gonna be very interesting next episode, because next episode, it seems that Himiko is gonna find out, Himiko and Sakamoto, that they're the exact person in the Btooom game that they were online wife, husband and wife and stuff like that. My virtual bride. Yeah, that's the name of the next episode, my virtual bride. And I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting. That once they know about it, they're gonna be like, they're not gonna be fighting anymore. That's for sure. They're gonna be helping each other out, and then they're gonna apply everything that they know from B2 into real life, and they're gonna work as a team. That's what I'm thinking about, and hopefully, Taira does not die anytime soon because if it weren't for him, Sakamoto and Himiko wouldn't survive. So there is like he's forming an alliance right now, and there's still gonna be more people probably joining him later on. So we get the end of the episode because somebody spotted Himiko with the radar. The other two were not spotted because they did not move at all, but she did because she kind of moved a little bit after standing up and everything. She got spotted by the radar, and then when Sakamoto got to see what's going on, who's spotting her, so he could try to drive him away and all that stuff. It was that long hair assassin. From episode 3? No, episode 2. It was the long hair assassin. And he almost stabbed Sakamoto by surprise. He moves really fast apparently. And then next episode, oh my god, he's gonna kidnap Himiko and everything, and there's gonna be the lawyer appearing as well, and wow, this is gonna be a mess, seriously. But it's still gonna be interesting. But it's gonna be kinda, yeah. We'll have to see next episode. But it's a really good episode. Be tuned. I give it a 4.5 out of 5, maybe a 5 out of 5. It's really good. And I gotta start doing these ratings even more because I keep forgetting to do it. Anyways, I'm gonna be shaving all this. Don't worry. For the Sword Online review, I'm gonna be more cleaner. Take care. Bye bye.